What is a bottle episode? According to Merriam-Webster, a bottle episode is an inexpensively produced episode of a television series that is typically confined to one setting. Given our current circumstances, I think a bottle episode could be so much more.
And all I've got to offer is sensitivity, intelligence, and charm.
One of the most famous examples of a bottle episode is actually a movie. 12 Angry Men follows the closing arguments in a murder trial. The 12 members of the jury must deliberate, with a guilty verdict meaning the death of the accused, an inner-city teen. The dozen men try to reach a unanimous decision while sequestered in a room. One juror casts considerable doubt on elements of the case. Personal issues soon rise to the surface, and conflict threatens to derail the delicate process that will decide the boy's fate. The entire runtime of 12 Angry Men, except for the very beginning and the very end, take place in the jury room. The very simple story taps into our humanity and asks the simple question, what makes somebody a good person or a bad person? The single setting adds to the drama of the story rather than taking away from it. Beautiful stories can still be told when stuck in one place. The limited setting does not limit the story, and your limited setting doesn't need to limit yours. Let's talk about some of my favorite bottle episodes in the age of quarantine. Midnight is the 10th episode of the 4th season of Doctor Who. The episode is set on board a small touring vehicle, which stops in the middle of a tour on the hostile surface of the planet Midnight. The vehicle has its cockpit destroyed with its driver and mechanic. The unseen assailant is depicted only through sound effects and its possession of one of the vehicle's passengers. In typical Doctor Who fashion, adventure ensues. Midnight is relevant to our discussion for two key reasons. The first is that it demonstrates that adventure can happen anywhere, even locked in one single setting. The second is that it features a threat that cannot be seen, a feeling we're all familiar with. The creature in Midnight infects passengers, one by one. The crew and passengers on the vehicle have no idea how the creature is passed from one person to the next, creating an air of distrust. I think we've all found ourselves crossing the street because someone walking near us coughs into their sleeve these days. Innocent lives end up being lost because no one will listen to the doctor. Sound familiar? The rest of the passengers even become suspicious of the doctor, even though it would be in their best interest to listen to the expert. Adventure can still be had while contained in one setting, but always use caution and please listen to the doctor. Leslie and Ron is the 4th episode of the 7th season of Parks and Recreation. The episode finds Leslie Knope and Ron Swanson after falling out in their relationship. Their friends concoct a plan to lock them in the office alone together until they can finally put aside their differences and become friends again, and in the end, rekindle the relationship. I included this bottle episode because I think our time in quarantine presents the perfect opportunity to rekindle our relationships. Being stuck in one setting has quieted the outside noise. It's given us the chance to really look at the people we love and really connect with them once again. It's given us the opportunity to make more phone calls, join more Zoom meetings, whatever. During my time in quarantine, I know that I've talked to my friends more than I ever have before in the past. Our real-life bottle episode has given us the opportunity to really develop our own characters. Remedial Chaos Theory is the 4th episode of the 3rd season of Community. It follows a community college study group at a housewarming party for members Troy and Abed. When one member, Jeff, throws a dice to determine who will go to collect the pizza delivery from downstairs, 7 different timelines unfold, showing each of the group leaving to collect it depending on the outcome of the die. Remedial Chaos Theory is chaotic. The events that take place in the various timelines are unexpected, and one outcome even results in the, quote, darkest timeline. During our time here in 2020, I've even heard people joke that we are in the darkest timeline, a reference to this episode. Right now, things can seem chaotic, and the fact that we truly have very little control over our own surroundings has become very apparent. This is what makes Remedial Chaos Theory a perfect bottle episode for your quarantine binge fest. Things can be chaotic, but that doesn't mean they aren't funny. Rixty Minutes is the 8th episode of the 1st season of Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty watch Cable from other dimensions while Jerry, Beth, and Summer watch alternate reality versions of themselves using a pair of interdimensional goggles. Tensions rise as Jerry and Beth see how much more successful professionally they could have been if Beth had never become pregnant with Summer and they had never gotten married. Through these alternate reality versions of her parents, Summer realizes that she was an unwanted pregnancy and decides to run away. When a family is trapped in a house together for long periods of time, things can come out of the woodwork. While the conclusion to Rixty Minutes isn't the most feel-good ending, it really is in Rick and Morty. That doesn't mean that the ending has to be catastrophic for you. As people are stuck together in close quarters and tensions rise, take the opportunity to really talk about it and work through these things. Don't follow Morty's advice.
Nobody exists on purpose. Nobody belongs anywhere. Everybody's gonna die. Come watch TV.
While that advice has become a witty catchphrase among edgy teenagers, it's probably not the best advice to take to heart. While Leslie and Ron is an example of how quarantine can be used to get closer to our loved ones, Rixty Minutes is the opposite side of that coin. Tensions can get hot, and I think that's something we can all relate to right now. Bottle episodes are often used for dramatic effect, and to give the audience a better, more intimate view of characters and their motives. This is similar to how we become more aware of ourselves in quarantine. While we've been forced to live in our own bottle episodes, things have been created, relationships kindled, and problems solved, all while stuck inside. Many of us have gained a better understanding of ourselves and those around us. Our lives have changed drastically, and yet we keep writing and telling stories. We keep having adventures. And while it sounds very idealist to say, I don't think anything gets to take that away. So that was the bottle episode video. This one was a little bit shorter and a little bit sappy, I know. I also know that quarantine is way more complicated than all of this, but you know, I'm not qualified to talk about all that. I just like talking about media. If you and your family have been struggling to make ends meet during all of this, I will link some mutual aid networks and some funds and stuff below. But yeah, I hope you liked it. If you did, why don't you give it a little thumbs up, maybe subscribe, maybe do some sharing, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Yep. Okay, bye.